going to do a little demonstration for you today of Drypoint printing, which is one of the techniques that I use for my own personal practice. So I've been drawing some little puffin designs. I'm just going to try and show you that. I'm scraping to make a pattern using all the different prints. So I've got a few different puffins, some fish, some flowers that you'd find next to the cliffs where the puffins lay their eggs. So we're just going to whiz through and show you how it's done. Okay, so I've got my tracing. I'm going to put a bit of white paper underneath just to help me see what I'm doing a bit better. I've got a little scrap piece of perspex here, and what you do for Drypoint is using tools like this, which has a kind of sharp needle end. Then you scrape into the perspex and that creates a burr, which is like a rough texture, and when we come to inking it later on, you'll see that's where the ink clings to. So all the dark areas on this puffin that I'm going to do down here, I want to create as much texture as possible on those bits. Now that I've got my outline done, you can see puffin shape starting to come through. We're going to shade in the darker areas of the puffin. The way that we do that is just the same kind of technique, but we're going to keep our lines really close together to create a nice density of where we want all the ink to cling to. I'm going to follow the sort of direction of where his feathers would be going. So you can see that area of texture that I've put in there now. So I'm just going to keep working at those areas. So I think that's my puffin completed in terms of the etching that I wanted to create. You can hear the sound of those burrs. It's quite a rough texture on there now, which is what my ink will cling to. So what I'm going to do next is cut him out, because I want him as an individual little stamp. to next is inking this little guy up and showing you what happens next. And I've got some little cut up bits of cardboard which I'm going to use to spread my ink onto my puffin. I'm just going to do them in black this time. Sometimes I might try and do all the different colours at this point, but I think just to get a feel for how it works and do a test run, we'll stick to black. So just need to scrape black ink into all of those birds that we created earlier on. So we pick up all that lovely detail. Whilst I'm doing this inking up process, I also have some paper that I'm going to print onto, which is soaking in water, because for Drypoint we have to use a printing press, and having damp paper allows the paper to seep into all the details that you've created. So the next bit, we just need a little bit of scrap newspaper and bundle that up. To stop me getting too many fingerprints on my puffin, I'm going to hold them in place with a bit of mouthboard. A rubbing motion, start picking up, because we don't want ink all over the puffin, we just want it in the areas where we've created texture. So we have to clean them up a bit now. You can see all those details that we created earlier on, and where that black is clinging to. It's exactly where we want it to be, really. So what I'm going to use next is just a little cotton bud to clean it up a little bit more precisely. So I can use this to really get into those areas where I want it clean. So you can see a bit better now, those two contrasts. So then we're ready to put them through the press. I've got my printing press out. This is just a little A4 printing press. I've popped my puffin down on the plate bed, which is got a few layers of paper underneath, and I've got my damp paper here, so I'm going to pop my paper over my puffin and put those couple of layers down. And the press has these blankets on as well, which help with the pressure onto the print. Take a little sneak peek, make sure it's had enough pressure. Yeah. There we are. So there's the first one. And then usually with Drypoint you can get two prints at the same inking up. I'm just going to get my other piece of damp paper, pop it over the top. There we go. So I think the second print is a bit better actually. First one is perhaps a little bit dark. I'm just going to quickly show you how I'd use some watercolour to paint in the colourful areas of my puffin. I'm just going to test out my colours on a bit of scrap paper first to make sure they're what I need them to be.